Extinction Rebellion, they're expanding their activities today, as I say, to that area by I think the Queen Victoria Fountain outside Buckingham Palace. The last time they did this, they left a lot of rubbish behind, though.
They did, yes, because, you know, for people like Extinction Rebellion, it's one rule for them and another rule for everyone else. So they go on all the time about how destructive and polluting the rest of us are in terms of flying around and driving diesel cars and leaving rubbish. But of course, they do all these things as well. But, you know, it's just revealed that one of the founders of Extinction Rebellion drives a diesel car. We know that Stephen Fry, who endorses Extinction Rebellion, lives between Los Angeles and London, and I'm sure he doesn't walk between those two parts of the world. We know that Emma Thompson.
Water.
Well, that's right. So maybe he does. And of course, Dame Emma Thompson once flew from LA to London to take part in an Extinction Rebellion protest. And when an interviewer asked if she at least flew economy, she said, "Of course I bloody didn't." So they are hypocrites. And there's a strong class component to environmentalism as well. This is often very plummy, posh people telling off the lower orders for being so polluting. So it doesn't surprise me that they're having this kind of impact on London.
And the lower orders don't like it, did they? There were those infamous pictures from, was it Canning Town? 7 o'clock, maybe earlier in the morning, and a couple of Extinction Rebellion protesters clambered on top of the carriage roof. From which they were quickly removed and given a gentle slap or two by the labourers who were on their way into work in central London. There was a collision of reality and ideology that morning, I can tell you.
That's right. You know, the Great Battle of Canning Town, as I like to refer to it, that was ordinary people pushing back against these Greens who were basically disrupting their daily lives. And let's not forget that the Extinction Rebellion also targeted Billingsgate Fish Market, which is a great fish market run by working class people, and Spitalfields Meat Market. And lots of the people who worked there and who were disrupted, they said, look, to us, this looks like a bunch of posh people preventing us from earning a living. So a lot of people do experience Extinction Rebellion in that way. I think fundamentally, environmentalism looks to me like a form of elitism. This is a way for the upper sections of society to look down their noses at mass society, mass consumerism, mass clothing, people who go to supermarkets, people who do apparently vulgar things. It's a new form of snobbery dressed up as an attempt to save the planet. And I think that's becoming a lot clearer to more people now.
We're showing pictures from close by Oxford Circus. Brendan, I mentioned those separate protests outside Buckingham Palace by an offshoot from Extinction Rebellion. That's Animal Extinction, or is it Animal Rebellion? But anyway, Animal Rebellion, forgive me. Now, I was saying something a couple of weeks ago about their protests at meat processing factories that supply McDonald's, and I was particularly struck then by the fact that, in a sense, if you are seeking to persuade people, as this organisation are, that they should stop eating burgers, the best way to do it is to go to restaurants and McDonald's on high streets and say, with a bit of gentle persuasion, put that cheeseburger down, this is why. But that, again, might produce the kind of reaction that we saw in Canning Town.
That's right. I would actually like to see some Extinction Rebellion people try to do just exactly as you've described. It would be quite funny. But of course, the real problem with Extinction Rebellion is that they're not in the business of persuasion. They're not in the business of normal politics, taking their argument through the normal democratic means, which is what most of us do if we want to have an impact. This is about disruption. This is a tantrum. This is a middle-class temper tantrum against the masses for daring to live pretty nice lives. That's essentially what this is. And it's not about persuading us to change the world. It's about moaning at us and lecturing us for daring to live in the way that we do. So it's very disruptive. It's very annoying. Most people, I think, are completely switched off by this kind of behaviour.
And Brendan, what do you say to those people who will argue, well, you know, there's Brendan O'Neill, who surely believes in the right to legitimate protest for heartfelt causes. You know, is he arguing for the police to move in more rapidly? What's he actually arguing for?
Oh, I absolutely believe in the right to protest. I think it's incredibly important. I think the government's plans to restrict disruptive protests is a real problem. Protests are supposed to be disruptive. But the point about Extinction Rebellion protests, especially the ones that go on for days and days, is that the target is ordinary people. The target is your average Londoner or another city dweller And Extinction Rebellion just wants to make those people's lives harder. So it strikes me as a very unpleasant top-down form of protest rather than a protest aimed at the political classes as such. I still don't think there should be heavy-handed treatment. I'm that much of a libertarian on the right to protest. But I do think ordinary people taking action and telling these people to get off the streets, that's probably quite a healthy approach.
Yeah, your colleague Brendan at Spike, Tom Slater, wrote a piece this morning talking about the performative nature of what we're seeing here. Quite a few of the people there are performers. There is a sense in which it is a performance.
Oh, absolutely. And I saw a clip earlier today of these, I don't know, Amdram students, by the looks of it, dancing around and screaming and yelling. And I thought to myself, you know, the middle classes in this country have gone completely mad. You do sometimes wonder what they're doing, what they're getting up to. It's very performative. It's very street art. And I think that's more proof that this is not really normal political engagement. It's not democratic engagement. It's about signalling virtue. It's about lecturing ordinary people. And it's about making a performance of how wonderful we are in comparison to the rest of you. So very performative, very annoying. And I think it's driving people up the wall.
Brendan O'Neill, appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.